So, hey guys, Chaucer here, and yeah, I'm going to talk a bit about the V3 Blackbeard 2. And yeah, one thing for sure is that he's very interesting, like, there's no other unit like him in design, and I always like when Bandai does something new. Even if I'm not a fan of the concept, like V2 Kaido is similar, very cool concept, they nailed the design. Still not a big fan myself, but yeah, I give them props for that. I give them props for V3 Blackbeard, but I'm not a fan of everything about him, but the more I think about him and just accept the that he's as he is, I am able to start seeing the positives of him. And yeah, one thing for sure, there's going to be a lot of very, very cool teams using this witchy Blackbeard as captain, where you do very creative team building choices. Like, that's cool at least. Just to summarize my problem with his units briefly, it's basically that there's a lot of effort to accomplish something that other legends don't really require effort for. Like, yeah, sure, he can beat a ton of stuff. You can make cool big brain teams. But to accomplish the same thing, you can run more brain dead captains, accomplish very similar things. And yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, but my own personal problem is that I feel like there's a lot of inconsistencies with the kit, but yeah, we'll go through that. Thanks to Mats for compiling all the info here, and Koala-san on Reddit for the translations. Okay, so Ouija Blackbeard is a duo unit driven powerhouse int, just like Moria in that case. And yeah, let's look at his captain ability, and there's a lot to dissect here. The first thing I want to point out is that there is a big difference going from single Blackbeard to duo Blackbeard. It's not just the attack boost. Like, it's not just that you go from 4x attack to 5x attack. There is a he also loses a lot of stuff from his singular captain abilities. Like, if you look at the Yami Yami captain, for example, you have the 1.5 times incoming damage. You receive 1.5 times more damage when you get attacked, and you have half RCV of crew. And this is part of both the single form captains. But for the duo captain, those nerfs to Blackbeard disappear. So you're left with 1.75 times HP, massive HP, fantastic, with the 5x attack. And yeah, not the nerf of receiving more damage and halving RCV. So yeah, when it comes to duo forms, this is, yeah, safely to say, this is the most powerful duo unit captain we've had. And what's so unique with this Blackbeard is that they've actually designed this Blackbeard to mainly be a captain, and not just be a captain, to run two Blackbeard as captain. And you often don't do that with duo units. Like, even if you run a duo unit as captain, personally at least, I feel like there's usually not a big reason to run two of them. But Bandai are pushing it here, and I'll give them props for trying. So yeah, let's dive a bit deeper. Let's focus on the duo captain now. As said, 5x attack for two classes, driven and powerhouse, 1.75 times HP, fantastic. And you reduce 2 to himself after taking damage. That's like V2 Blackbeard in that regard, and that's basically where the similarities stop. Not really, but they are so different units from each other. He also has a 10% HP cut when entering a new stage. This is like Kaido. And the HP cut is a bit lower, but on the plus side, it goes through normal attacks only. Only the second thing that does it in the game after Roger. So that's cool, of course. That's a lot of free extra damage depending on the content. And yeah, another thing that I think many feel is confusing is if a crew member uses a special that does any form of damage reduction. And this is not about removing damage reduction, this is about applying it to your side of the field. So anything that gives normal damage reduction, like a percent reduction, anything that does a threshold damage reduction, so like Baka for example, and anything that does nullify damage, so you don't take any damage, like Legend Robin for example, and especially that does that, it removes the damage reduction effect and instead applies a 1 turn attack boost to Driven and Power Heist by 2x attack. And the only part removed is the damage reducing part, the rest of the specials still exist. So a unit like Time Skip Sanji, the rare recruit strength, he does damage reduction and a 1.75 times ore boost. If you use him with Ouija Blackbeard as captain, he will do a 1.75 times ore boost and a 2x attack boost for Driven and Powerhouse. So yeah, this will really change how you use certain units. And the new batch we get with this Blackbeard really helps him do what he wants to do. Like, often your batch rare recruits are obviously designed for the legends, but you rarely, I won't say rarely, but there's often better choices than using the batch teams. But I think the batch rare recruits will be quite common with Blackbeard because their specials are just a lot better with him. We can look at them quickly at the end of the video. So yeah, that's the captain ability. And of course the captain ability in itself looks good. Like, I have no problems with the captain ability, very well designed, cool. The problem starts when you go to special. And yeah, let's look at the special. You get the +1 ode to chain for 1 turn. Like, that in itself is fine. It could have been higher, I feel, but it's acceptable. And if captain is Driven a Powerhouse, extend 1 turn of attack up and ore boost of crew. And yeah, that's it for that, 1 turn extension. And I love options to extend. The problem with 1 turn extension is that you either need a 2 turn special, or you want to use 2 Blackbeard specials. And we'll get back to that in a minute. And he has another effect, which is very unique. And yeah, probably the thing that will make him the most viable as captain is that depending on how much damage you accumulated throughout the run, you can stay as duo form for longer. So the minimum is 3 turns, the standard for duo legend. But you can stay up to 8 turns if you've taken up to 50,000 damage. So there's probably a scale there how long you will stay. And I can see in some content you might want to get like 6 turns just to perfectly time in when you return to single form and maybe swap and use the special again. Like, yeah, it can be some shenanigans with that. We'll see how it turns out. And yeah, before we go a bit deeper, let's look at the switch as well. And this really is a captain switch. This is a switch that mainly benefits Blackbeard if he's captain. If he's not captain, it's mainly about getting an onslaught, like removing the spear as sub doesn't really matter that much. Removing special seal, like, it's usually not bad, but if you look at Blackbeard special in a vacuum, like imagine you get to a stage, everybody gets special binded, you can swap Blackbeard and he's the only special you can use. Will that even matter? Usually not, it's just a chain boost. It just extends buff. It doesn't bring any buff to the table. Chain boost is nice, but it doesn't add that much damage by itself. So that's both of these are mainly for captain, and honestly, even as captain, like removing special bind from both of them is also suspicious, I'd say. But yeah, of course it's better than not removing it, so yeah, it's there. And let's take a quick look at Sailors too, like some nice attack boosts, and he himself will treat all color orbs as beneficial. Not a big fan of the Sailors either, like the treating all color orbs as beneficial can be nice for certain units, but Blackbeard as sub is more of a support. So of course he will have the stats to do a lot of damage, but I prefer if he's supported with making an orb beneficial. That's like usually the best sailor you can get, or removing some special mine or something. But yeah, it is what it is. Not very impressive sailors. But yeah, let's start a bit with my criticisms of this unit before we move on to the positives. And yeah, as said, this Blackbeard is kind of suspicious as sub. I won't say useless, but let's say he has limited usability as sub. It would probably mainly be adding some chain boost to get extra damage and extending certain buffs from 2 turns to 3 turns. That would probably be the main extent of it. Definitely not something to underestimate. Like, that can definitely be useful. But that's maybe not something I'd expect a legend sub to bring in 2021. So yeah, I think we'll leave the sub there and focus more on his potential as captain, because he's obviously designed to be captain. And the reason I think that is that like a lot of his kit works the best if you run double V3 Blackbeard captain, like the despair removal, for example. You can set it up so you can swap both Blackbeard, remove all the despair. You don't need any despair removers then. If you only have one Blackbeard, say you pair V3 Blackbeard with versus Akainu, then what does it matter if V3 Blackbeard swaps and removes the spear? V3 Akainu still has the spear. So yeah, those parts of his captain ability are mainly there for double. But I think I'll say it right now that you will just accept that there will be no situation where you'll ever get the full advantage out of V3 Blackbeard's kit. Like maybe for longer content you can do, when you can use him multiple times, different ways. You can maybe get a lot of different uses of him, but often you'll have to sacrifice some part of his special to just make the synergy of the team work. For example, with his buff extension, like he extends buffs, attack and orb by 1 turn. And if you look at his captain ability, where he can turn damage reduction into attack boost, they are always 1 turn. So to extend them to the next stage, you need to extend it to 3 turns. You need to use both V3 Blackbeard if you use him as captain. But that means you also use up his chain boost, so you don't have any chain boost for extra damage the stage after. But at the same time, you are now in duo form with both. And if you've taken a lot of damage, you can be duo form for 8 turns. And now you have a lot of HP, a lot of durability. You can take hits, get the CD back, probably stall a bit. And then you can time it, so if you get the spear later, you can time in so you can swap, get a guaranteed matching orb, and you can start with new shenanigans with V3 Blackbeard. So that's something you can consider. So yeah, one thing I haven't brought up about him either is that, which is a good thing, it's that the attack boost you get from his captain ability, like if a damage reduction turns into an attack boost, it cannot be interrupted. And that's obviously very good. I'm not sure why they did that, but yeah, can't complain. Makes him a lot more usable for a lot of different content. Like, interrupts can be annoying to deal with and you just ignore them for free. So that's cool. But yeah, basically my main problem with this V3 Blackbeard is that you really need to do some convoluted setups, and you're basically using 2 captains just for some not very important, like it doesn't accomplish much with the special. Like you can use it to extend if possible, of course. A lot of the time it will be just erased, like you don't have any Roger who can come protect your buffs or anything, or you will just use it to get some form of chain boost. But you want 2 captains who just does a chain boost, like But yeah, I think I've settled for the fact that in the end this guy is just really, really bulky. You just want to take a lot of damage early on. You want to time when you use the captain ability, the special, properly, so you can set up for the proper captain ability and make it last as long as you want. And yeah, most of the time it feels like the special won't be super helpful. Like, you also have to remember that since it's 8 turns, you can take hits to reduce CD. You can, for example, take enough damage, like very early stages. You can even use his captain, like stage 2 if you want, even stage 3 if you can stall a bit, and get the special spec for later. Then will be really good. The first special will just be to increase captain ability, and you can use the later to chain boost. But yeah, I feel like every time I give some potential for him, it comes with a big caveat. Like, it's nothing is easy with this guy, but it's going to be super cool to see teams here. I'm sure there will be people who will return to this with and be like, "Oh, you're such a hater, check out this with from Subconscious or something. He makes V3 Blackbeard look amazing." I will probably also make amazing teams with V3 Blackbeard later. But yeah, before I end the vid, I feel like I talked a long time. There's a lot you can say about this Blackbeard. I just want to say that the new rare recruits, this Pizarro and then the Devon, their specials both give an ore boost and have a utility and also do some form of damage reduction. And yeah, they are one of the few driven powerhouse that are really viable, that makes use of the mechanic. So yeah, I would be interested to see them used. Like, they won't have many good supports to put on them, but they aren't bad units at all. It's just a shame that all the utilities are only 4 turns. I feel like that's it's just such a shame. But yeah, you can make it work, I guess. But yeah, feel free to let me know what you think of V3 Blackbeard. I'm happy to hear others' thoughts about him. I'm sure I haven't considered every possible use of him. But yeah, I feel like I've talked enough now, so thanks for hearing me out. See you next time.